On August 17th, 1974, I got a telephone call at the radio station. I was on the afternoon shift. The person on the other end of it was my next door neighbor. Said, your house is on fire and your little boy is inside. And I couldn't find the keys to my car, so one of the guys at the radio station crammed me in his car and ran the 4.5 blocks towards my house. And when we turned the first curve in the road, I could see the smoke. I had not thought about it up till that point that it was a big fire. My little boy didn't survive. It was the most horrible day of my life. But from all the bad stuff that goes on in somebody's life, there's always one thing, maybe sometimes two, that make you stop and think, if it hadn't been for this or if it hadn't been for that. A couple of things happened in my life after that that made me realize that there was something bigger than me on the face of this earth. I was able to help a couple of people. About 2 months after the fire, I was driving back from South Georgia. I went down to visit my aunt, my favorite aunt. Everybody called her my mama. She was just like my mama. Her name was Elizabeth. Elizabeth gave me two $20 bills when I left the house. She always did that. I don't know why. But she gave me two. Here, you're probably going to need this. She gave me two 20s. They had just gotten reeled out of the bank or something because they were crisp as they could be. It was hard to peel them apart. And I was on the way back from seeing Elizabeth. I drove by an old black church. I mean, the church was caving in. And there was a cemetery between the road that I was on and the church. And there was a couple digging a grave in that cemetery pretty close to the road. And there was a tiny little casket sitting next to the grave. And I went past it. But then I got like, I don't know, probably half a mile or so down the road. Something tapped me on the shoulder and said, you got to go back. So I turned around and went back to see those two black people burying their little son who had died of crib death 2 days before. There was a lot of crying. The only thing I could do was just stand and hug one in one arm and one in the other. I couldn't say much of anything. And I said, you know what? My aunt gave me a little something when I left her house from South Georgia, and I want to give it to you. And I reached in my pocket and I got those two 20s, and I gave those two $20 bills to that couple. And both of them hit the ground on their knees and cried and cried and cried, and I got down there and cried with them. About, I don't know, 4 months later, 5 months later, I had a pretty decent motorcycle. I got on it, rode up the hill to go to the store, and saw smoke on the left-hand side of the road. And I don't know why, but I pulled my motorcycle into the yard, and it was a house on fire, and two people were squalling their eyeballs out. Our little girl's in there, our little girl's in there. And I don't know what told me or led me to say this, but I said, wait just a little bit. Don't run into the fire, you'll die. It came out of her mouth. Within a matter of a couple of minutes, while we were standing there, a little girl walked up and said, Mommy, Daddy, why is the house burning down? It was their little girl. You can't tell me that God did not lead me to that house. You can't tell me that God did not put the words in my mouth to tell those two people, don't run into that fire because you will die. True story. From that moment on, I made my mind up that whenever I could possibly do it, I was going to help other people. Join an organization that helped kids to go hunting and fishing anywhere they wanted to go in the world with the help of a load of sponsors that I have worked with over the years. And it has become an extremely successful organization. Hooked up with the biggest children's hospital in the whole nation. Takes sick kids hunting and fishing anywhere they want to go. And whenever I can lend a hand or say something to someone who will make them feel a little bit better, I try my very best to do it. How about trying that sometime? It doesn't cost you anything. Just pat somebody on the shoulder and say, you did a good job. You did a great job waiting on me today at my table. You're a great worker here, and I appreciate you. Just kind of pass it on a little bit. It works. Don't hurt nothing. Don't cost nothing at all. Try it. See what happens. It'll get paid back, I guarantee you.